Hello everyone, I hope everyone's having a super duper awesome possum Wednesday. It has been a while and I'm just now catching up to everything. I've been working technically multiple verticals of trying to figure out what the next step is, right? Like first I make the business plan, then I finish the business plan and I gather these ideas, right? And so from the beginning of the term, which you guys might remember, the first-ish video I think came out either early February or late January, and this is due to the fact that everything was based on the fact that everything's official now, everything's to the point where I'm graduating the following term, and that means that every idea that I've had, basically, everything that I've learned, everywhere that I have messed up on the way to making Southern Oregon Card Emporium, like it all just feels like it's happening right now, right? And so, in the past, it's been under like Pokemon Seller 95. If you've done business with Haxan, I forgot what the numbers were behind that one, or Pokemon Seller 2010, Pokemon Seller blah blah blah. It's like all the way back to about like 2010 in high school when I was doing like small level deals, right? Small level sales within the community, within external like selling sources like the Facebook Marketplace, or whether it was selling on Mercari or OfferUp, anywhere that's not like somewhere official, like an official selling platform, where a person's allowed to grow, especially because you're not really focused on where you're going to be going with this. Like, is this just a hobby? Is this just something that you're like making a last minute sale to, I don't know, cover rent? Because like back then I was like fresh out of high school or in high school, and so my biggest worries about money were really just like, I want hot Cheetos and or I want to go to the market and get a couple snacks, right? And so there wasn't really a plan set. There wasn't really anything other than the fact that sorry, my eyes burn. But anything other than the fact that I wanted to start something, and I knew that it felt like business was in my blood. It felt like, this was finally the one thing, the one hobby that really like made me excited to like sell it and then be able to buy new cards or buy new sealed product or anything along those lines, right? So all of this in mind, we skipped through the years. I'm done with selling as a hobby. I realized that, what, even though it is a hobby, it's kind of like I want sealed product. That was like my main like driver around the time of like 2016 to 2019. I just wanted more sealed product, and I knew that I was a student, and at the time I was working at Big Lots, and so I'm getting like 20 hours a week, if that, barely making rent because I'm living with like my sister, her fiance, and it's like a whole bunch of people in this one little apartment, and we're barely making bills. We're making it. We're trying to do our best, right? And so I didn't really know what that looked like. I mean, I just kept telling my family like, this is gonna be something someday, like this box right here, it's gonna turn into something. It's basically like I was looking at like a goose egg and telling them, I swear to you, it is gold. I promise you, it is something that's gonna pan out. And so like when it came to like the worst of times, when school was asking for their money because you have to pay for tuition, you have to pay for all of these things regarding your education, because I was balancing doing work, going to school full time, and still trying to maintain that this hobby could be something. And all I had going for me, all I had mentally like holding on to that idea, was something that I did, which was like do a little bit of research on sets in the past. So more specifically like EX Dragon Frontiers, and I was looking at Call of Legends because I remembered the one pack I got. So imagine this league, right? Salem, Oregon, go to the league, and as one of the prizes, like they did like random little raffles for the people who participated in their pre-release. So cool beans, everyone gets a ticket, right? So everyone gets a ticket when you sign up for the pre-release, and so they're calling the little, the little, I think they were bingo balls or whatever. The point is that, or no, they were tickets, but the point is, I win a pack, right? I win a Call of Legends pack, and I was so excited because I think at that point it's like what, 2014, and so it's been at least like 4 years since this set was released, and I win a Call of Legends pack. The thing is, I didn't really know about value, right? I didn't really know how to treasure that type of thing as a valuable asset. I was really just a collector then. I was a player. I was someone who had just started understanding, general gameplay. And so there come these tiers, right? There comes like a level of understanding, of maturity throughout the hobby that exists, that you have to go through, because like you have to make those mistakes. You have to learn where you mess up, and like basically like what your greatest weaknesses are as a collector, as a player, as everything that you might be within the hobby. Because I realized that my weaknesses lied on the fact that I didn't really have a strategic brain for the game. So cool beans. Maybe I'm not a top tier player, but I did enjoy playing. And so then I was like, well, what do I enjoy about playing most? And I was like, well, I love the rules. I mean, rules are awesome. Rules are something I can follow and that I can like learn to teach people. And you know what else I'm good at? I'm really good at interacting with like everyone at the league, and I could make them feel welcome, and I could like join different groups of people together and be like, yeah, you know what? You should play with this person. This person is really good at this. I knew how to pull out people's value like intensive traits, where people were uber friendly, or this person is really strategic. So you know what? I might not be able to help you make a top tier deck, but this person, they're amazing. And you know what? They might not be able to help you with your whole deck, but they might be able to look at it. Why don't you go talk to them, right? So you create these connections, and I realized that, you know what? I need to be a Pokemon leader. That's what I'm built for. That's what I probably should be doing, right? And so I get into contact with certain people, right? And I start making those connections, making those networks. Like, we're talking business world, because unfortunately or fortunately, I know the lingo, the language of business, which is literally just accounting. But here I am learning the language of business and the language of like understanding people, making these connections with more people, which cool beans. And it leads me down the road of, I'm now a professor, I'm now a tournament organizer, and like I'm volunteering at my league, I'm running it, and I'm making sure that we have prize support, because at the time I had made the decision that I was going to be trying to like max out the pack potential of the league, because overall I knew that our leader beforehand had connections with someone in Portland, where he was like getting boxes from them. Well, the thing is, I didn't really have those connections. I really just had myself. And so I talked to the old gym leader, and he said, oh, well, you might be able to get into contact with them. And then I was like, cool beans. And I tried, and then it was like, we're stretched a little thin up here, and so we have to be providing for like 6 different leagues, because up there, like in Portland, Oregon, you have like all of those leagues having to do with Mr. Raichu and or other gym leaders in the area. And so they're all able to help supply each other with like product and stuff, because they run an actual store. So here I'm like, you know what? I don't run a store, and all I have is like my own personal stuff. So if I don't want to be like getting rid of my stuff, because I really didn't want to be doing that. The reason I started collecting after a while was because I saw the potential of a future. I saw the potential of a Hidden Fates pack maybe one day, right? One day, because this is all like hypothetical. This is a hope. This is something that, someone can hold on to within their heart of hearts, and then hope that it becomes true, because that's really your intuitive self speaking. Is it real? No. Could it be real? Yes. Could it really possibly be real? Who knows? It's honestly a flip of a coin, a shuffle of a whole deck, and then calling the next card, because you really don't know. You hope. And by all means, this might be the biggest gamble I make in my life, because honestly, throughout the majority of my life, I made the decisions to hold on to this more than I was making decisions to take care of myself sometimes. Like, I would value this and getting a case of this instead of keeping myself debt free. For a while, I was leveraging myself way over the amount that a person should be leveraging themselves, but I did it because, I was young, I made mistakes. I had a credit card. You know, it was that mental point at the very beginning where it was like, you know what, I'm gonna get a credit card and I'm gonna learn how to build my credit. Well, in high school, at least I had a really good teacher, and he was not my favorite, by the way. He was one of those teachers who said really smart things that I didn't appreciate until now, because now is really when it was useful. So, teacher goes on to say that, you know, if you're gonna get a credit card, never pay the minimum balance. And then I was like, why? Why wouldn't you choose to, you know, have the best level of payments so you could survive longer? Well, because you don't want to be paying that interest for an extended period of time that defeats the entire purpose of why you used the card to begin with. You used it because you didn't have the funds at at that specific time, or you used it because there was a benefit to it, right? Like a cashback, or maybe you get some points. Nice, enjoy those points, because maybe those points are that 1.5%, right? That's the credit card thing, I think, on the Chase Freedom. So you get your 1.5% of points. So on a major purchase, right, say a $2,000 purchase, you make about $30, which is awesome. You're like, yeah, I made $30 on the bank, so haha, I come out the winner, and I got the stuff, and I'm gonna pay it out slowly, like throughout maybe a year, because, you know, you're still working minimum wage and you're barely getting hours and you're still paying rent and you're getting yourself food, and who knows, maybe you're in a relationship or you have kids and you have to pay for so many other things too. And no one prepares you for that, but they tell you, you know what, this is the cheapest payment you can make, this is to your benefit, but the truth is it's not. And you end up paying for that, like, actual interest rate throughout that entire year. And a lot of people's credit is actually not that good, so possibly, like, at the worst case scenario where I was standing, my worst case scenario was I was paying about like a 22 point something percent, but 22% interest on an annual rate. So this is spread out, blah, 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 blah. But 22% on $2,000? And I did that over and over and over again, because I kept believing in the product, and I was like, you know what, I'm still gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna pay it off. And then, you know, it was just a giant circle and a giant pit that I just had to figure my way out of. And I did. Over time, like, I figured it out, but that's not gonna be everyone's story. And that's why I don't tell you guys, you know what, like, get a case of Scarlet and Violet, it's gonna be coming out, it's gonna be like the best set ever, you know, all of these new features, you know, it's a gray card, it's maybe gonna change the holo, it's the reintroduction of EX, like, yes, all these things are true. But you have your own life, and you have your own things to take care of, and honestly, I'm not here to put anyone in a hole. At the same time, I'm gonna tell you, yeah, you know what, these things have appreciated in the past, these are patterns. You can observe these patterns, but can you survive, like, the trials of point A to point B, because that is a trial period of about 5 to 10 years. Can you make it that long? This is a whole tangent, because now I'm talking about this. Back to business, though. So the point is, I finished the business plan, correct? So the business plan is now complete, up to the certain point that I'm at right now. About like 60% of it's left, and that's going to be like financials, operations, and then probably like explaining why I'm going to choose to do more security over having an insurance policy, because at least from the research I've done, most insurance policies will not cover all of your Pokemon product. It's really like they're almost layered as a percentage. Like, they might choose, like, this is only a percent of what they're going to pay you, and they're only going to pay a certain amount, blah, blah. So the point is, insurance isn't really worth all the hassle. At that point, just make sure you have a good security system. Make sure that, you know, the room that you're using is, like, temperature controlled. Make sure, like, this is all on you. You got to do your research. You got to take care of things, because overall, you're extending yourself. Like, here, I don't know, like, Charizard UPCs alone, that's 500. So it's like, do I want that to be in danger? No, I don't want $500 to be in danger. So it's like, do your part, right? Do your part for your collection that you invested in, that you're taking care of, because it's you. So cool beans. Back to business. The point is that, you know, now we're here. Now we're at the point where I have to figure out, do I want to do this? Because the thing about graduating is that I never actually expected this business plan to stoke the fire within me that was like, you know what? I've wanted to do this all this time because it's always been in the back of my mind, right? It's always been, you know what, someday this is gonna be something. Someday. It's around the corner, actually. So, it's time to figure out what that someday is gonna look like. And I don't really know what that is. Because, 2 years ago I also made the plan to be an accountant. Well, more like 4 years ago, because now I'm graduating for it. But 2 years ago I for sure made the decision to be an accountant. I got my internship, and then I ended up getting an associate position. And now I'm promised an actual position, and that's really amazing, Like, great company, great job, and cool beans, and you know what? I'm probably gonna roll with it because that's what I want to do. I want to be an accountant so gosh darn bad that I ended up working all this way, and even am committing myself to become a CPA. And so, do I think that I'm gonna stop doing the Pokemon business? Of course not, because honestly, I think it can grow in the background. I think I can continue to build these relationships. I think I could get reinvested within the Pokemon League and community, like both here in Medford, Oregon, but also maybe back in Klamath Falls, right? I've heard that we have new stores now. Like, doing all this research for my business plan, and I find out that there's like Castle Hill Games in Grants Pass, and they have like a general Pokemon time, and so now I'm here wondering, do they have a league? There's people in Rogue River that just set up. Cool beans. Do they have a league? Do they need help? I don't know. Like, what can I do to help the community here to become strong enough so that if there were another contender, because this overall, yes, it's going to help all of these competitors, right? Because we're going to build leagues, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to stoke the fire of Southern Oregon and make sure that everyone's super excited to join and like do the thing, right? Do the thing. And so we're going to continue the spirit of Pokemon in Southern Oregon, and that's going to be awesome. And that just means that when a competitor comes up, maybe in the future, maybe in 10, 15, I don't know how much, like, I still have my whole life ahead of me. I'm graduating, cool beans. And I don't know what that means. I just know that I want to be an accountant for now. I just know that I love TCG Player and the opportunity that it's given me to provide people, like, cards and everything. I bought a collection yesterday, and I'm here like, okay, now I gotta sort some cards and put that up on the inventory and then sort some other stuff. I still have a bunch of bulk to go through, and there's just a lot. And I can continue building that, and I can continue building that base of like making sure that people know that when they see Southern Oregon Card Emporium, they have a history with it. Because whether they know it or not, maybe at one point throughout, like, from now to 5, 10, 15 years, they purchased from us. And they had a positive experience, and you know what? We built on that over and over and over again. Cool beans. And now, like, we're here. And I get to share with you guys, like, my experience. Tell you guys, don't overextend yourselves. You could ignore me, or you could listen, or you could just keep watching. But the point is that you learn something, because that's, like, basically the entire reason that I'm doing this, because I want people to learn. I want people to be able to make decisions and know that they're making them with a level of knowledge that they're comfortable with. Because there's nothing good about having a community that's not educated in what they're doing. There's really not a point to it, because then there's people who are like, oh, well, Pokemon's a scam. Or it was this entire, like, negative experience. Like, no one... the community's just not a community. And I've heard that before. Like, from really bad leagues and, people who experience the game, and you know what? They're like, it was just a huge waste of time. Like, I don't know why I got into it. It's like, who ruined it? Who did that? Because that's not cool. I wasn't the best Pokemon professor, but the very least I did was make sure that people had others to connect with. To make sure that they knew that they could come back every single week and have that positive experience with their friends. Because these people did become friends. All walks of life, cool beans. We gotcha. So, the point is, I'm here to tell y'all that the business plan is complete. That we finished everything up from, like the industry analysis, the whole market analysis, the competition in the area, our strengths and our weaknesses, opportunities and threats, considering every single aspect that we could, right? from Pokemon leagues to summer fairs where we could go become vendors for a whole weekend, right? So I hope you guys have an awesome possum day. This was just a quick recap of don't overextend yourself. Scarlet and Violet is coming out. Other sets are going to be coming out. I'm not sure if anything's going to happen, like a reprint or something to make things cheaper, but what I do know is that it's always good to buy usually early on. Sometimes you get lucky, and if you wait it out, you get lucky maybe a month into it. Singles for sure. 1 month, 2 month, wait, and then be like, oh yeah, this card that was $80 at pre-release is now $40 because so many of these boxes were opened, right? You benefit, and that's awesome. But sealed product is usually one of those like buy now, because I personally don't feel so great about Scarlet and Violet, and I don't know how many boxes are going to be released. I don't know if it's going to be short printed. I'm going to hope that it's not, because honestly I think that they've been planning enough for this set, and now that they have Millennium Print Group, I think they're going to be printing either to demand or a very strong wave 1 if they had their general projection set up and everything for all this. So I do think that buying this particular set ahead of time is going to be helpful. But again, that is my guess. Total guess over here. Nothing but guessing. But I hope you guys have a super duper awesome Possum Wednesday, and I'll be sure to pop in back soon. For now, I'm just making a bunch of memes in the middle of assignments, so have a super duper day. Be safe, and subscribe if you'd like. Bye.